Hi folks, today we're going to be doing some home roasting coffee at home. Um, it's fun, and it's the best coffee that you'll probably ever drink once you get into it. So I'll tell you a little bit about what I use to roast, and it's probably, a lot of you probably have this stuff already laying around the kitchen. And you don't need to go out and buy a $700 roasting machine or anything like that. I'll explain a little bit about what we do and what I do, and maybe you can save yourself some money. First of all, you might ask, why roast your own coffee? Well, the coffee you buy in the store, if you're buying a nice gourmet style coffee for $14 or $15 a pound, you don't know how long that's been sitting there. It could have been. First of all, I guess probably most important are the green beans. You can get a shot of the beans there. Today we're going to be roasting I'm making an espresso roast, or a blend for espresso, and we're going to use some Brazil Cerrado, some Nicaraguan, and some Ethiopian Yirgacheffe. And we're going to do an espresso roast today. And what are we going to need? Well, what I use, you might already have one of these, is a Whirly Pop popcorn popper. Had one for years, so it really, I think new, they're about 25 bucks, but I already had one, so that we use for popcorn, but we don't use it for popcorn anymore. The other thing you could use, and I don't use it, but I got one of these old hot air popcorn popper for about $2 at Goodwill, and you can do that as well. I'm not going to show you how to roast with that, but you can't roast as much. But for $2, you can get yourself a coffee roaster instead of having to spend $70, probably the minimum, or $700 on a roasting machine. The other things that you're going to need, and that I use for roasting, is a couple colanders. I've got a metal one and a plastic one. That's all I've got. And I've got an aluminum pizza pan that I use for cooling, and we'll get a little bit into that later. So let's get roasting. Okay, what I've done is I've heated up the roaster. You can see a little smoke coming out of it maybe right now. And I've got it on medium heat. And so it's warmed up, it's ready to go. All I gotta do now, I'm gonna just add the beans and start playing. One of the things that we're gonna do here is the way we roast is we're going to roast by the sound and kind of by the smell of what we're roasting. That's why you don't need one of those fancy roasting machines. It does it all for you. Those things do it all for you. You can do it just as well yourself. So it'll take about 6 or 7 minutes. So I'll just keep cranking, and we'll tune back in when we got something to show you. Alright, it's been about 6 or 7 minutes, 7 minutes actually, and I don't know if you can hear it, but you're starting to get in the first crack. I'll stop cranking for a second, maybe then you can hear it. That's the first crack. Now, when it gets in the first crack, I turn the heat down to low. Start out on medium, high heat, or medium, and kind of turn it down to low. It kind of stretches it out, because you don't want to get the second crack too quickly. So the next thing that we'll be looking at is the second crack. Okay, it's been about 4 minutes or so since 4 or 5 minutes since the first crack started. The second crack is starting, and I like to for this roast, espresso, a little bit darker, I'm going to take it in until I get a pretty good rolling second crack, maybe 30, 40, 45 seconds into it, and then I'll stop and maybe you can hear the second crack. It kind of sounds like Rice Krispies. Still kind of slow. It's going to take off here in a few seconds. Yeah, there it goes. A little bit more. Well, just roasting by sound. Smells pretty good too. Okay, it's starting to really roll into the second crack. A lot more quicker than the first crack. So now we're going to cool the roast. All right. The way I cool the roast is to take it outside because there's a lot of smoke, and pour out the beans and separate the chaff. A lot of chaff, so I do this outside.
It's raining a bit.
Alright.
I got it.
I've cooled the coffee a little bit, separated the chaff, and then I poured it on this pan. It's aluminum, so really in about 10 minutes it's going to be room temperature. And what I'll do is I'll let it sit for at least 24 hours. This is espresso, probably 36 to 48 before we use it. It outgasses CO2 and makes the flavor gets fuller after that time, but then it starts to go downhill within a few 3 or 4 days after that. So that's all there is really to roasted coffee, and like I said, don't buy the gourmet store brands. Go ahead and roast your own coffee.